All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Kim Snyder with Sync to CRM, and I am thrilled that you are here today. I will just tell you up front, this webinar is going to be ever so slightly spontaneous as compared to some of the others that I do, and that is because if you don't know, I have spent the last 5 weeks in very rural Argentina. I am still there. And to say that I am basically plugged into the internet at the foot of a telephone pole balancing my laptop on my knee is not a great exaggeration. So we're going to give this a go. I do not have my typical, big two-screen setup and all of that. So this is going to be a little functional, and hopefully the internet's going to hold out. We've got John on the line just in case I get knocked off so that we don't lose one another. But anyway, so we'll see how it goes. But thanks for being here. And I'm really glad that you're here because I'm very excited about this webinar, actually. So what we're going to be talking about today, very specifically, is how to create Infusionsoft and Facebook ad campaigns that work together to increase conversions and lower ad costs. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like and how we put that together. However, before I do that, there are 4 prerequisite concepts that you need to understand first. Those are pixels, custom audiences, what Sync to CRM does, and Leaky Buckets. Now, some of you may already understand some or all of these, but just to make sure that we have a foundational beginning before I jump into this higher level stuff, I want to make sure that we get this covered. All right, pixels. So for those of you who don't know, Facebook operates or uses something called a Facebook pixel. You'll hear this all the time. And a lot of the things, these foundational concepts that I'm going to share with you here, there are things that you are already using elsewhere. Facebook just calls them something different. So a pixel is just a little piece of code. It's a snippet of code that you put everywhere. And if you haven't done it already, you need to. You put these little snippets of code that Facebook gives you on your website, on your landing pages, on your Infusionsoft order forms, anywhere and everywhere that someone might go. And what that does is that snippet of code then reports back to Facebook and tells Facebook which of their users has visited those specific pages. It works exactly the same way as the Google Analytics snippet of code that most people are familiar with. It's very small. Technically, if you don't know how to put it on your website, then your webmaster will. It goes in the same place that the Google Analytics code does, and that allows Facebook then to keep up with where everyone has been, who's visited what. And the reason that you want to pixel people is you are going to, as we're about to see, use that information along with a lot of other information to target the ads that you're going to show in Facebook. Now, like many things in our modern technological age, we've taken something, a new thing, and turned it into a verb. Like Googling, we have pixel and pixeling. Pixeling is now a verb, and so you'll hear them or pixeling. What does that mean? So it's basically this idea of, in the same way, okay, that we used to, the top of our funnels used to be driving someone to our website so that we could get them to opt into our email list so that we then had permission to email them. The funnel, the top of the funnel is now one step higher. The new email list is now your pixel list. And so now the idea is you still drive them to your website, landing page, order form, etc., but with the idea that you can pixel them. Then we know that they're there, they're identifiable. Once pixeled, you can include and exclude them from your Facebook ad targeting, even before they have identified themselves by opting in to your list, okay? So opting into the list is now second down the funnel, pixeling is first. And you're going to see that when I show you my example. So that's what I mean by pixels and pixeling. Any questions about that, feel free to throw them in the chat. I am going to try to leave, or in the questions window, I am going to try to leave time at the end of this session for Q&A, but as I said, this is a pretty ambitious presentation, so we'll kind of see how it goes. All right, so that's pixeling. Now, next one is custom audiences. Again, custom audiences is something that basically you're already doing. It just goes by a different name in Facebook. A custom audience in Facebook is just a list of Facebook users who meet certain criteria. So in Infusionsoft, we call these tagged contacts or a saved search. They're the list of contacts who come up when you say has this tag, doesn't have this tag, and first name equals Kim, and custom field called subscription equals active, right? When you create that as a saved search in Infusionsoft, it returns a list of contacts who meet those criteria. Facebook calls that same concept in Facebook a custom audience. The difference is that in Infusionsoft you can see who those contacts are. In Facebook you can't. You just define the custom audience, but Facebook knows who they are, and then you can use those custom audiences accordingly in your ad targeting. So it's analogous to a saved search in Infusionsoft. And then as you're going to see, what we do with these custom audiences is we use them, we include them and exclude them in our ad targeting. We say show this ad to people who are in this custom audience but not in this one, for example, just in the same way that we would use tags and custom fields to say send this email to someone who has this tag but not this one, but send this other email to this other group who has both of these tags. It works exactly the same, okay? So when I think custom audience, right, think tags or tag groups. And by making those custom audiences dynamic, meaning that they stay updated, they change as people have the criteria for those custom audiences changes for the various contacts, and then that's reflected in the custom audiences. So if you no longer meet the criteria, you're no longer in the custom audience. If you suddenly do meet it, you suddenly are in the custom audience. That's what I mean by a dynamic custom audience. By having the ability to create dynamic custom audiences, that does a couple of things. It decreases our ad costs and it increases our conversions, because now by using these dynamic custom audiences, you're only showing relevant ads to the right people at the right time. And so again, thinking of an analogous situation in Campaign Builder for Infusionsoft, the idea that someone, you know, you have a campaign and at the moment you publish it, it has nobody in it, right? But it's dynamic. As people trigger various things, they fill out web forms, they have tags applied, they submit landing forms, etc. They flow in and out of those sequences dynamically. You don't have to go in there and add them in and take them out. And that allows you to create evergreen campaigns that are automated and just run. Well, you can do the same thing with Facebook ad campaigns, so long as you have the ability to create that dynamic data, which is, as it turns out, where our software Sync to CRM comes in. So what Sync to CRM does is it basically makes what I'm about to show you possible, because it makes that data dynamic. What it does is it creates and constantly updates custom audiences in Facebook by using your tagged contacts or saved searches in Infusionsoft. So as people are having tags applied and taken off in Infusionsoft, as the custom fields are changing and therefore they fall in and out of saved searches, what Sync to CRM is doing is constantly going back to Facebook and updating those custom audiences in order to make them match the data in Infusionsoft. By having that sort of dynamic data in custom audiences, what you can now do, right, is automate Facebook campaigns in the same way that you would automate an email campaign in Infusionsoft, which is heretofore not been possible. And by constantly updating your Facebook custom audiences with that data from an Infusionsoft, then you can take it one step farther, which is what I'm about to show you. You can now also run integrated campaigns, a Infusionsoft campaign and Facebook ad campaign that run together, work together, progress together in order to make each one work better, and to plug what I call leaky buckets. And that's our last of our 4 concepts. By the way, I am not going to go through an actual demo of Sync2CRM itself. And the reason is the software is just dead simple, easy. It's very uncomplicated. There's not much to it. You just tell it what do you want to sync, what tag, what save search, and what's the name of your custom audience, and set it up, and it just runs perpetually forever, right? It's really easy software. So it's just a shortcut link to get you to our step-by-step video. It's 9 minutes, literally, to show you how to work the software. But I think our time is much, much better spent on this call on not how to work the software, because that's the easy bit, but what you can do with the software and how you can make money from the software, because that's the thing that people sometimes struggle to get their brains around, and then when they see it, they're like, OMG, I can't believe I can do this. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Obviously, you know, if you need help with the software, just hit us up on chat or whatever, and we'll be happy to help you watch the 9-minute video if you need to. There's documentation, etc. But I'm not going to spend this webinar on that. Okay, now on to my 4th concept, leaky buckets. Leaky buckets means all the contacts in a campaign, whether Infusionsoft or Facebook, doesn't matter, who you either cannot reach or who do not reach the next goal in your campaign. In other words, they don't do what you want them to do. So one of the great powerful aspects of these integrated ad and Infusionsoft campaigns, email campaigns, as you're about to see, is the ability to scoop up these contacts that before we're falling out the bottom of our leaky buckets. And I'm going to show you what I mean by leaky buckets in just a second when I start into this campaign. So, but first, here's what I want to do. I want to define for you basically the campaign that we're going to be building. So here is what I have defined as a very simple customer journey for a Sync2CRM subscriber, okay? So the idea is somewhere, somehow, you've got to get cold traffic, people who don't know who you are and or may not even know that they have the problem that you solve, which is in our case syncing Facebook custom audiences. Somehow or another, you've got to find those people and get them into the top of your funnel so that they become aware of who you are and the problem that you solve, right? Now, in our, and some of this is supposition, because when you're first starting out, you do have to make a lot of guesses, but you start with a hypothesis and then you prove it out and change it as you go along. So I believe, right or wrong, that typically someone probably has to see 3 pieces of really good, valuable content from me before they opt in. That's not always the case, right? But I'm going to say the typical ideal customer will have consumed, because remember, I don't want just anybody to pop out the end of this customer journey. I want my ideal target customer to pop out the end. And so if I write the correct content or create the correct content that's aimed specifically at and meant to appeal to my ideal target audience, and someone who consumes 3 pieces of that content and then opts in, right, then chances are that's going to be my person. So I believe that the customer journey is cold traffic to probably at least 3 pieces of valuable content. They then opt into our email list somehow, right? They then attend this webinar, They then convert to a free trial of our software, which is 7 days, and at the end of 7 days, and by the way, of course, not everyone makes it through each step, right, which is what we're about to talk about, but some portion of those who take the free trial convert to a paid subscriber. So that is our customer journey. Now, let's look at that in the context of Leaky Buckets. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken that customer journey and I've put it on this chart to kind of chart out how we're going to address this campaign. I basically, you'll see, I'm going to build this out, and you're going to see the campaign unfold on this chart. But so here I have cold traffic, 3 pieces of content, opt-in, attend webinar, convert to free trial, convert to subscriber. And I've taken a stab at some numbers. I'm saying this cold traffic is going to come from either organic traffic, pay-per-click, right, Facebook ads, referral, direct, whatever. Now, but most of it is probably going to come from pay-per-click Facebook ads, okay? So I've taken some stab at some numbers and I've said, okay, of the ads that I run, if I have a 0.5% click-through rate, just as a, as a round number, okay, then thinking about Leaky Buckets, my Leaky Buckets is the other 99.5% of people who saw my ads but have not responded, okay? So 5% click-through rate. Then I'm going to assume that of the ones who do click through and view our content, about 20% of those website visitors opt into our list. So there is always an inverse. There's always a leaky bucket somewhere, and that leaky bucket is the 80% of visitors who are coming to my site but are not opting in, so I have no way of emailing them because I don't know who they are, okay? So 80%. So I've paid for a lot of people to see my ad and get to my site and read my content that I can't email. Then I'm going to say it looks to be about 40% of our visitors or contacts will register for this webinar. And of those who register, about 40% attend. So again, 2 leaky buckets there, 60% who have opted in and who I email will not register. And of the ones who do register, 60% won't attend. So 2 leaky buckets there. And then finally, of the ones of you who do attend, about 40% of you convert to a free trial of Sync to CRM, so 60% of you don't, leaky bucket. Finally, of the ones who take the free trial, about 70% will convert to being a paid user, meaning 30% of you will not, okay? So that's the idea of the leaky bucket. Now, one more piece of leaky bucket before we go to the campaigns themselves. One of the big leaky buckets that I left out here is this, which is the fact that here in these campaigns, once I've got them opted in and I start emailing them, as you all well know, typical open rates on an email is only 35%, which means that, 65% of the people that you are emailing never see your messages, so that's a leaky bucket. And you can only email them so many times before you burn them out if you email them too often. But even still, okay, so looking at these numbers, even for the ones who do open your email, what we know is that those people, the statistics say that people who have seen coordinating email and Facebook ads, each sending the same message, have a 70% higher likelihood of converting than those who have seen one or the other, and as well that just the reach is extended dramatically. So that is yet another, this email leaky bucket is one that doesn't actually really show up here. This is just the ones who don't reach the next goal, but you also have in each one of these stages of our email campaigns the ones that never even see our messaging because they don't open our emails, okay? Now, in terms of creating the campaign, what I did then, just for grins, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but for my own edification, is I then started with the end in mind and worked backward, okay? So I am going to try to, let's see if I can do it like that. Maybe you guys can see that. Okay, so here's what I said. I said, all right, well, I'm going to start at the end. With the end in mind, I'm going to assume our average subscription fee is $75 a month. We're running about 3% churn. My monthly recurring revenue goal is $1 million a year. And that means I need to add about 125 new users a month. So if I work backward from that down along the customer journey, this is what that looks like. I need 42 new trials per week, or 10 per day. I need 200, therefore, again, using these numbers at the top, right, I need 267 to register for this webinar each week and 107 to attend. I need 667 people to opt into my email list each week. I need 3,337 clicks on my ads each week. If I'm spending $1.50 per click, which is pretty high, but just to use that number for right now, that means I've got to spend $5,000 a week on Facebook advertising to get to this sort of a number. Obviously, all these numbers should optimize and improve over time, but still, we're just going to start with this. So based on that, I can now say, if this is my end goal, then how do I design a campaign to create that? So in order to do that, I'm going to start back at the left-hand side of the screen and just work my way over. All right, so here's where I'm going to start. So I'm just going to build the typical Infusionsoft campaign. This is what I'm going to assume most of you would do and would understand how to do. So because I know that the first step in my customer journey is that they have to view 3 pieces of content, the first thing I'm going to do with cold traffic who does not know me is I am not going to send them directly to, hey, buy my software. Instead, I am going to run ad campaigns in Facebook which promote my blog posts. So we create content, we promote. The objective of that ad, as you're about to see, is I want to click to the website. Specifically, I want to click to that blog post so that I can pixel them. Because once I can pixel them, then I can send them ads that are not targeted broadly. As you can see here, my target right here, because it's cold traffic who doesn't know me, right, is I'm just targeting right now any Facebook user who also has said they have an interest in Infusionsoft. This is a huge list, right? 700,000 people that I'm targeting. The thing you have to understand, and one of the things that makes custom audiences so important and underused, is the more relevant your ad is, the more laser targeted it becomes, the cheaper the cost becomes, right? Because it gets shown more often to the right people and the more likely they are to convert. So at the top of your funnel, you're just shotgunning out ads to a very big, broad, cold audience, trying to get them to show them something of interest that'll get them to the website so that you can pixel them. All right, so let me just give you some detail on that really quickly. For those of you who are not that familiar yet with Facebook ads. So the first thing I said here was that my objective is to get them to click to the website so that we can pixel. So this is when you go into Facebook and you start creating ads, it's going to ask you what is the objective of your ad. And these are all the different possibilities that Facebook gives you, right? The one that I'm using for that first ad to get them to my blog post is I want this top one, clicks to the website. You've got desktop apps, you've got events, lead generation, which is a lead ad form, which we also sync, but I'm not really talking about in today's webinar, promoting your local business, your mobile app, offers, page likes, page post engagements, product catalog sales, video views, website conversions. These are all things that you can select as being an objective of your ad, and Infusionsoft will try to, sorry, not Infusionsoft, Facebook will optimize who it shows those ads to people who are most likely to take that particular action. Think of these almost like goals in an Infusionsoft campaign, right? When you start a campaign sequence, you have a goal behind it, right? That you're sending them emails with a very specific intent. So what you choose here is sort of in the for the ad, for the objective, is sort of like the goal that comes after your email sequence. Okay, so just wanted you to be aware that those, when I say objective, click to website so I can pixel them, that's what I meant. And also, if we want to look at what the targeting looks like on Facebook for that particular ad, as I said, it's actually pretty broad. And this is not exactly what I would use for that, but it's one that I am running right now. So we're just going to say we're not using custom audiences here at all. Remember, that's groups of people that we already know who they are. This is cold traffic. So I say I want to send this ad to everyone in the United States, Canada, and UK between the ages of 33 and 47. This one's going to men. Typically, this would probably just go to all, but this one's going to men only as a test who are Facebook page admins, because that way you're more likely to get the page, the business owner, and who have an interest in Infusionsoft down here, right? This is how you say to Facebook, this is who I want to show my ad to. So again, this ad that we're talking about is right here at the top of my funnel to cold traffic that I don't know and they don't know me, and it's very, very broad, just trying to get them to click to the website so that I can get a pixel on them. Because if they came to the website and clicked, then they probably are interested in what it is that I'm selling. Or talking about at least. Martha says, how can you target Facebook users with an interest in Infusionsoft? Yeah, so that's this right here. So right here, Martha, when I say down in this section, in the detailed targeting section, right, I just say, when I start typing right here under interests, INSUF, it'll come right up. Facebook keeps track of who those people are who like Infusionsoft, and so you just select that in your targeting, okay, right here on that page. Okay, so that's how I'm going to target this first ad, okay? And this is to get people in the top of my funnel. All right, now let's keep going. Let's talk about the folks who come to the site, right? Now, again, let's think Leaky Buckets, right? There are a bunch of people who click on this. They come to my site, and what do I want them? So now I know who they are because they're pixeled, okay? So what do I want those people to do next? Well, I want them, once they've come to my site, I want them to opt in. How am I going to get them to opt in? Well, I'm going to get them to opt in with a lead magnet. But they haven't opted in yet, so I don't have their email address. I can't send them an email, so the way that I get to them is with an ad, again, an ad, okay? Only this time it's going to be a very specific ad, right? This time I'm going to send them to a landing page on my website with some great lead magnet, the must-have tools for every serious Facebook marketer or something like that, right? And the people I'm going to show this to is only the people who have come to my website but have not opted into my email list yet, right? Because, again, I'm paying money for this ad. So why would I show this to people who are already on my email list? I would just be wasting money, yes? So our targeting is going to be everyone who's been to the website, therefore they've been pixeled, but they're not on my email list. So what does that look like in my ad targeting? So here's what that looks like. Okay, so again, this is my ad targeting, and this time all I've got here is right here in custom audiences. I have two custom audiences, right? I say, ooh, that was the wrong one. Oh, heck. I gave you the wrong one right there. Oh, hang on. You know what? I just put the wrong one up. My apologies. Here's what this should say. Let me see if I can show it to you. Can't believe I did that. So what yeah, just totally wrong ad, totally wrong thing. So what it should say instead is, bear with me 1 second. So if I go over here to Facebook ads and I make this full size. Hopefully you guys can see I'm now on the Facebook Ad Manager. If you don't see that, let me know. So if I just come over here, don't worry about what I'm doing. The point is just I'm trying to get a an audience or an ad set up so, oops, so that you can see the targeting that I would use for that. I want to, here, create an ad set. Okay, remember, these are those objectives again, so I'm just gonna send people to my website. Yeah, I know. I'm probably gonna mess up my ad campaign, but that's okay. I'm just clicking through stuff, right? I just say that landing page, I'm gonna use my pixel, because what I'm trying to show you is this. Okay, so here's the audience, here's how you choose the ad, right? So in this case, the people I'm trying to show this to, I'm not trying to show this to millions, 191 million people. Nope. The people I want very specifically are in my custom audiences, right? So what I want is I want all website traffic. Okay, that's a custom audience. Everyone who's been to my website in the last 180 days, which is as much as Facebook tracks. And in this case, this custom audience is dynamic because of the pixel, right? Every single page on my site is pixeled, and therefore Facebook knows who all of its users are who have been to my website in the last 180 days. So I'm saying I want everyone who's been to my website in the last 180 days, but I want to exclude anybody who is on my, where is it? I'm talking and email list. Oh, here we go. Duh. Sync to CRM email subscribers. Okay. All right. So I'm going to exclude all website traffic, but exclude anyone who's already that we know is already subscribed to the list. Now, this should look perfectly familiar to you guys because it's exactly the same way that you decide who gets an email, right? You say, you know, imagine that we had a tag in Infusionsoft that was everyone who's been to your website traffic and all of your email subscribers. So this is just basically the equivalent of, you know, has tag all website traffic, but does not have the tag, it does not have the tag email subscriber. Right? Send them that email. Well, the only difference is instead of sending them an email, I'm going to send them an ad, right? I'm going to get rid of this United States because I want everybody in these custom audiences and these lists, not just people in the United States, 1865, all men and women, the rest we totally don't care about, right? And so you would set all this up, and that would be the way that I would show ads only to, right, those people that I am trying to move from here, which is viewing my content, to getting them to the next stage in my customer journey, which is opted in. Okay, so hopefully, sorry about the incorrect slide there, but hopefully that makes sense to everybody. If you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer those. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep going. All right, now. So what comes next? All right. So we're going to assume that we're getting these people and we're showing them ads to get them to opt in. What happens when they opt in? I want them to attend this webinar, the one that you're on right now. So how am I going to do that? Well, so basically the way most people would do it at this point is they would just start email campaigns, right? Because they've opted in. You know who they are. And so now this starts to look, the rest of this is basically your standard Infusionsoft email campaign, right? So they've opted in, so we send them either, you know, the lead magnet that they asked for, or we send them a thank you email acknowledging that they've opted into our list, and then we have a sequence of emails that's going to push them to the goal, which is that goal is attending this webinar, right? There's a web form that you filled out that says you want to attend the webinar, and when you do that, that goal is satisfied, and you move into into the next the next piece of the campaign, right? Which, so for us, that is once you have registered for the webinar, we have an email sequence that's going to send you, this is not done, but we're working on, right, is going to send you an indoctrination sequence, it's going to send you a liquidator offer, and then once you attend this webinar, then it's going to encourage you to take us up on our core offer, which is, of course, the 7-day free trial, right? And so once you've either been marked as, and I'm going to show you this campaign in just a second, you've marked as attended or not attended this webinar, then what comes next? Then you start getting emails. Oh, so there's a goal there. Did you or did you not sign up for the free trial, right? And so if you did, what comes next? Typical email campaign, customer onboarding sequence for everybody who has converted to a free trial, because we want as many people to stay as possible. And then once you convert to a paying subscriber, then what do you get? Well, the next thing in our deal is then the feedback sequence, eventually asking you to leave a review for us on the marketplace, right? So this is really standard stuff. This is what everybody understands and does with Infusionsoft. I'm about to go a big step farther from that. But anyway, this is the Infusionsoft part of the campaign that you just saw, right? Here's the landing page or an opt-in. You all, I know you can't see that, but let me see if I can get it bigger. Anyway, I mean, it's just standard stuff. Apply the tags, have they already attended the webinar, push them to the webinar, register for webinar, indoctrination sequence, did attend, didn't attend, attended, already a user, emails, blah, blah, blah. Here's where you sign up for the free trial. Here's where you become a paying user, etc. Standard email sequence stuff. Once you got there via our ads on Facebook, okay? Now, I'm going to check questions, because now is where I'm about to show you how you can take this and really turbocharge this. By the way, for those of you who don't know, so I'm in Argentina. It's summer down here, and it's really hot. And where I am, not in Buenos Aires, way out in the sticks, they have no air conditioning here, so I am like dripping. Anyway, a little color commentary to go with your webinar. All right, so here's what comes next. This is where we start to do some cool things to, I mean, because this will work, right? This is going to get that 0.5%, the 20%, the 40%, the 40%, but what about the rest of it? What about all the leaky buckets? Well, we are going to use Facebook ads for that, and here's what that's going to look like, okay? So the first one I am calling Power Booster number 1, and again, I am going to make this a little bigger for you so you can see it. Power Booster number 1. So what Power Booster number 1, ad campaign number 1 does is it's designed to go after the people who did not register, okay? So because here, these people, because of this dynamic targeting, right, they're going to keep seeing ads, keep seeing ads, keep seeing ads until they opt in. And as soon as they opt in, they'll stop seeing these ads, right? So we don't need a power booster here. There's not really a leaky bucket until you get to this opt-in. But there's a big leaky bucket here, which is that 80% of the people who have opted into my list don't sign up for this webinar. So, and what can I, I can't send you an email every single day, every single week for months trying to get you to this webinar, but what I can do is I can show you ads, right? So the Power Booster campaign here is to say, I want people to sign up for the webinar. I'm only going to show this ad to people who are already in my Infusionsoft contact list. In other words, you've opted in, which is one custom audience, and I'm going to exclude the custom audience of everybody who's been tagged as having registered for the webinar, right? So again, that looks like, hopefully I have it right this time, I do, right? So in the custom audiences, I'm saying all contacts, right? Show this ad to all contacts, but exclude anyone who's in the custom audience called webinar registered. And again, I want to make sure you understand what's keeping these lists updated, because this is not like Facebook website visit data. This is data coming out of Infusionsoft, right? Every contact that's in my Infusionsoft app is in this list. Everyone who registers for this webinar is in this list. That's Infusionsoft data, and what is keeping this synced and up to date, so that I'm not showing the ad saying please register for my webinar when you've already registered, is Sync to CRM. Sync to CRM is the thing that keeps these lists in Facebook updated with your Infusionsoft data. So this is how I show an ad to everyone in my Infusionsoft who's not registered for my webinar. And in terms of creative, like this is not true creative, so please don't take this as any sort of an example of an ad you should build, but just to help cement the concept of what it is that we're trying to do here. For example, I just, kind of threw something together here in terms of, so this is who the ad is targeted to, and so it might say something like this: do you spend more than $2,500 a month on Facebook ads? Learn how to create Facebook and Infusionsoft campaigns that work together to improve performance, blah, 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 a sign up button, etc. Right? So this would be my ad creative for that group of people who, they've gotten my email. For whatever reason, they didn't open it and or they didn't respond to it, so I'm just going to hit them with ads periodically, trying to get them to get into this webinar. So to take this so that I have a much higher percentage than 20% of visitors who opt in. Let's look at the next one. There's another leaky bucket here, actually, just to show you kind of the power of this. I've got right here, I've got Power Boost number 2 right here, and it's different. You'll notice that my targeting here for this ad is people who registered, anyone who's ever registered for this webinar but hasn't yet attended it. And I can do that with custom audiences too. Now, in theory, right, I could have done, if I just said, notice I used registered here and attended here. And the reason I split these into 2 different ads is, and this is why I showed you the creative, is I actually just want to use some slightly different language here that's very specific and relevant to the person who's already gotten so far as to register but just didn't show up, right? So here's my custom audience. I'm going to say everyone who has, registered for the webinar but exclude anyone who attended. Those are tags I have in Infusionsoft, and therefore they're being synced, and therefore they're a custom audience that I can use for the ad. And then the ad itself, right, is a little bit different. Did life get in the way? This is a second chance to learn how to build Facebook and Infusionsoft campaigns that work together to lower costs and improve conversions, right? Did life, this is retargeting someone's, specifically who, speaking to them, you're always going to get much better conversion rates and lower ad costs, by the way, if the more targeted you become. All of you know this from your Infusionsoft training. It's just now thinking about being able to build ad campaigns in the same way. Okay? So that's my Power Booster ad campaign number 2. Number 3, that says 1, but it should say 3, is the people who attended this webinar but never signed up for the free trial, which is my next objective. So I'm going to target all contacts who attended but have not subscribed. Okay, so again, same thing. My customer list is my target lists show this ad to people who've attended my webinar but exclude anyone who's a current customer. Again, custom audience that stays updated because Sync to CRM does that. And I'm not going to show you the creative on those, but just to kind of keep this this concept going forward, right? Power Booster number 4 is, what about the people who this is a good one. These are the people who are right now in their 7-day free trial, right? What do I want to have happen? I actually want them to convert to paid subscribers. So this is a way to use ads that people might not typically think of. I don't have the creative here on this, but what I would do here is I would target all of my contacts who have a status of trialing, which means that you are currently in your 7-day free trial of Sync to CRM. Now, why would I show an ad to someone who's already signed up for the 7-day trial? Well, this is because, again, these ads they're so specific, they're really cheap. I can for example, show you ads with testimonials for sync to CRM, right? Things which make you, help with your buying decision, right? Which reinforce that buying decision. They don't cost me anything. You probably won't even click on them, but you'll be seeing them, and that is reinforcing messaging, right? All contacts with status trialing, and I would be showing right here that creative would be testimonials for the most part, right? And then finally, the last one here, I said finally, it's not the last one, would be, what about the people who took the free trial, but they canceled? So actually, 90 days from now, I actually want to have another go at these people. And the creative here would be, hey, we've made a lot of changes since the last time you saw Sync to CRM. Come back and give us a try, right? And then, now again, I can't do this with email. I would be so unsubscribed a long time ago here because, they'd be kicking me out of their inbox. But I can do it with ads, and I can do it very specifically, only show those people. And then finally, my last power booster here is for the marketplace testimonial. Is our next objective a subscriber who's been a subscriber more than 15 days and hasn't been tagged as given a review. The interesting question here is, what would this creative look like? Because I haven't built it yet, but I'm sure I could come up with something that would help improve this number, improve this performance, right? So this is the idea of how you build these interrelated campaigns, email and Facebook, in a way that they work together and improve the performance of either based on, as compared to standalone. Okay, so with that, I am open for questions. And by the way, this will be my one and only little sales pitch. If you're not already an Infusionsoft, if you're an Infusionsoft user advertising on Facebook and not using Sync to CRM yet, sign up for your 7-day free trial. Okay, Karen says the deck may be just as important as a recording to share with attendees. Absolutely, I will share this deck. I know this deck violates every rule of putting together a PowerPoint slide that exists, but it was the only way I could figure out how to show this idea in a way that made sense. So Dom, yes, absolutely. You can have the slide deck. I will make sure that you get it. Okay, what other, so questions about any of that, anything Facebook related, Facebook ad related, Sync to CRM, does this make sense to everybody? Is this something that you think you could use, and how can I help? Yeah, oh, great question. Thank you for that, actually. Karen wants to know what's the difference between this and SyncSumo. I have no idea because SyncSumo doesn't exist. It's vaporware at the moment. So here's the deal. Okay, plus this I will definitely address. So what happened was Justin Lofton, originally when I sold the API guys, some of you don't even know what that is, back in June, Justin Lofton approached me with this idea about using the sync engine that I had built at the API guys to create software that does this syncing that you just saw. And I had all of the development team, customer service team, software, sync engine, everything. He brought the idea and the name SyncSumo. He owns that name. It became very obvious in late November and December that he and I were not compatible as business partners. We had different values, and we agreed to split. So he kept the name, and I kept everything else. Basically, kind of like a marriage, we took out everything we came in with. So he has been advertising SyncSumo 2.0, which is very misleading in my view because it infers that it is the same software that I have and built and that he's just improving on it, and it's not. If he comes out with any software at all, which he may or may not, I don't know, but if he does, it's something that he built from scratch. It has absolutely nothing to do with mine, has none of my code base in it. He has no rights to any of it, and it may be great. I have no idea. I don't know what it does. I've seen the feature list on his his website, but as yet he doesn't have any software, so I can't really comment on what the differences are between his and mine. So what I can tell you is that Sync to CRM is real and syncs over 2 million contacts a day right now at the present rate with Facebook custom audiences. So I can't really address that beyond that. I wish he was not creating this confusion, but he is, and so sorry about that. Now, the difference between us and plus this is yeah, very, very different. So if you look, actually, just so you know, we have on our website, if I have it, give me a second. There is a feature list, a comparison list. I need to put some more right here. I need to put some more verbiage on that, and plus this is out here to the end. So the difference is that what Sync to CRM does is it's, as I said, we sync 2 million contacts plus per day, every day. So it sits there and in the background constantly updates those custom audiences 24/7, 365. What plus this does is plus this uses an HTTP post in a campaign to add a specific one contact to that custom audience or take it out. So if someone is not running through that campaign, then plus this can't add them or take them out. It's working one contact at a time. So for example, just so you understand the difference, if I were to like import a list of GoToWebinar attendees and tag them all as registered for this webinar, for example, Sync to CRM would pick them all up and put them automatically in the custom audience with that tag, whereas plus this would have to somehow get them into a campaign. I mean, it's a great solution if that's all you need, and you already have Sync to or plus this. One of the problems is the custom audiences need to be fairly big too, and so the way that they run them through the campaigns, a lot of times they're too small for Facebook to actually, show an ad to. But I mean, it definitely has its place. That's the difference. Okay. Yay, Dom! All right, I'm so glad. How small can your custom audience be? So Facebook, it's sort of like Google. They're not very forthcoming, but everybody has sort of come to the conclusion that they will show an ad to a custom audience as small as 20 people. Now, obviously, you've got to, they've got to be able to match the email address or phone number that you have in Infusionsoft to a Facebook email address or phone number in order to find them. But as long as you've got at least 20 matches in your custom audience, it appears that they will show your ad then. What is the minimum spend on ads in Facebook that you would suggest to get started using Sync to CRM? Is $5 per day too little? Yeah, so first of all, the ad spend in Facebook is not necessarily relevant to Sync to CRM. So $5, the real question is, because you can create a lot of Facebook campaigns, Stephen, without needing Sync to CRM, right? For example, you can create all kinds of custom audiences using that website pixel simply by saying, there's someone who visited my landing page but didn't visit the thank you page, for example, right? We know that that person might want to, you want to retarget them with one ad. You see what I mean? Like, so there's a lot you can do without using your Infusionsoft data. However, if you want to put your Infusionsoft data in there, into the mix as a targeting option for you, then you are going to need Sync to CRM. And in terms of what point does it make sense, to me the criteria is not how much you spend on Facebook. The criteria is always, as it should be with any app purchase, is this going to make me more than X, and X being what you have to pay for it per month, right? So if you're running ads of $5 a day, and by targeting something that is data that you only have in Infusionsoft and not in Facebook, and that makes you more than, say, $40 a month, which is our, starting level, well, then you should buy it. Of course you should. And if it doesn't, then you shouldn't. So again, that's the only question, actually, when deciding whether you should buy software or not, is will the use of that software make me 2, 3x what I'm spending on it each month? And if yes, I should, and if no, I shouldn't. So could you make 2 or 3x, $40 a month, depending on the size of your contact list, on $5 a day spend? I think you could, right? But only you know that. And also with the understanding that, of course, when you're first getting started in Facebook ads, there's a lot of trial and error. But right now, I'm actually only spending, right this very minute, we're only spending about $60 a day. So, yeah, so very, very reasonable. Okay, hope that helped. I know it was a little rambling. Hope that helped. Randy, when I signed up and paid, it was SyncSumo. Am I now locked into the price I paid with you or him? That's confusing. I know it is, Randy. So if you signed up before when it was SyncSumo, you are my customer now. And nothing has changed for me. The thing you should know is absolutely nothing changed other than the name. So I had to change the name because he owns SyncSumo. So I changed it to Sync to CRM. Obviously, we've updated the software and done some more things to it, but nothing changed. He's no longer my partner. The name is now Sync to CRM. Other than that, everything's exactly the same. So yes, you are locked into the price you paid with me. Correct. Yeah, exactly, Kim. Capital letters. Will it make me more money? Wow, if only all the customers would understand that. I know, right? We do. We get that. We get that equation very messed up in our head. We look at a number and we go, ooh, $400. $400 a month. Are you kidding me? Well, if it makes you $1,200 a month, who cares what? Who cares? The number doesn't matter. It's only how much money can it make you. That is the only thing that matters when deciding if you're buying software. And as a fellow developer, I can understand why you like that sentiment. Okay, Dan says, will you send the slides in a separate email? I have to get going. Sure. What we'll probably do, Dan, is try to put this together in a recording, and but I will, for those of you who attended, I won't do it for everybody, but those of you who are attended, I will quickly send this slide deck out just by itself, and then later I'll send you the link to the recording if that would be helpful. Okay? And that much I know I can do on this internet. All right, what else? Any other questions? We're going to wrap it up. Otherwise, I've gone a little bit over. I would say if something pops in your head later and you think, oh, I wish I had asked this, well, you all know where to find me. And if you don't, here is my contact information right here. And you can also, of course, get on our website. We have a live chat button in the bottom right-hand corner, as is in the app. You'll typically get John for that. But either of us would be more than happy to help you on anything, anytime, and I hope this was a little eye-opening for you and that you take this information and go forth and conquer. From Argentina, signing off, y'all.